Hello, hello, and welcome to part 2 of our 2023 in Review podcast. If you're still alive, if you're still awake after 4 hours of whatever the hell we were talking about last time, well, strap in for what is hopefully only, I don't know, I don't want to say anything because it's going to jinx us. So, this is the portion of the podcast that could just be considered like event related or just stuff we saw in the past year that kind of affected not affected us, but like
made us feel something.
Yeah, feel something.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Yeah. To be honest, it's a lot of topics that probably could have been used in our new Scramble cast type cast that we were doing in the first quarter of last year. So maybe think of this as like if we had kept it going, stuff we would have talked about, maybe. So yeah, let's just get into it. And we got to start with the good, because that's what you do. And yeah, the first, this is like biggest surprises or whatnot. One thing that kind of just came out of nowhere for me is we got a preview for Uzumaki.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Like, barely a minute, little over a minute, I don't know. Just shows us that they're still working on it. We don't know when it's coming out, but it's there. At least I don't think they've announced anything. I haven't looked.
Yeah, I've kind of just stopped following that whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel bad about that, but...
Yeah, it's still out there. I mean, there's still interest in Junji Ito. He had his other weird Netflix anime that came out.
I mean, probably more interest in him now than before. I mean,
right.
Maybe they were on to something by taking forever on this.
Yeah, it could be. It's a very, very slow burn, so I hope it pays off. But anyway, it like the little I saw looks better than that other anime I was talking about that came out last January. This other one looks like that other Junji Ito collection, like quality of animation.
I only watched one episode from that Netflix show, and it was fine.
The one from last year?
Yeah.
Oh, which one did you watch?
Oh, the balloons, of course.
Oh, okay.
It's the funniest one. It was fine. It was one of those things that you watch it, and you very much get the vibe of this was just made for people who are too lazy to read. And I never know how I feel about those. Like, on one hand, it's cool that something got adapted, but on the other hand, I feel like I should have just read it, because this feels like the inferior way to experience it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what it is about the color. Adding color to those comics just makes everything seem off. So
it does. Like, I saw stills from it, and like it's just like from different episodes, and it's like, and like it's other artists trying to like kind of imitate his work, because it's like it's one of those like art styles that wouldn't translate well to animation. Like if they did it fully, which I mean they're kind of going for it in Uzumaki, but it's not like 100%. Like, it's still somewhat simplified and stepped back, but yeah. Even for, like, anime, which is supposed to be, like, more detailed, but, more choppy as far as animation goes, it still looked kind of funky in stills.
And it's weird.
And the color, too.
How I've read tons of other... maybe not tons, but I've read other manga and seen it adapted into anime with color, and it didn't bother me, but for some reason, just the Junji Ito stuff does, and I don't know. Maybe it's because the black and white helps add to the horror aspect of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's pen and ink. You think of him as pen and ink because of all the cross-hatching, all that crap, which another thing that's hard to friggin' animate or like put in animation. But yeah, like I hope we get more news about Uzumaki this coming year. Just so there's closure. We've been talking about it for how many years now? 3 or 4?
More than that. I think it was
5?
2019 when we started.
Oh.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, the innocent days.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go on to my good thing.
Okay.
And that is the amount of first-person shooter remasters. And just remasters in general that happen. Like, I'm going to remember this as the year of video game remasters and re-releases, because I mean we got the Quake 2 re-release, which was awesome.
Yeah,
we got so many this year. Like, it's kind of shocking how many. And another huge one was the Metal Gear Solid collection, which I haven't played a lot of, but the fact that it's out is such a huge achievement because it was just one of those games that needed a re-release. Like the fact that it was still like only on PS1 for so long.
PS1 or PlayStation in general.
And then what is it? GoldenEye getting re-released is still a miracle. I mean, it sucks that you can't play it unless you have some type of Xbox or Nintendo Switch streaming service, but the fact that it somehow got re-released just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. But they pulled through, and like so many of these games, so many games that are so important to me, like Half-Life 1 and stuff, have gotten, updates to them, and it's just really cool. And I'm excited to see what else is going to happen. I mean, there's bound to be more coming. I think there's been some leaks saying that it has been messaging people who made one of the modern source ports for Quake 3. So a Quake 3 remaster is probably coming soon, which is pretty exciting. Not that Quake 3 really needs it, but the only problem I have with Quake 3, like in its current state, is that if I use the Xbox game capture, it doesn't allow me to play the game, which I think we have footage of in one of the Quake misses, but it makes me, I have to like move with the touchpad. I don't know why it does that, but
it was weird. But that's something I completely forgot about, because there's a lot of stuff that just like kind of flew under my radar I didn't hear about, and it's like, oh, that got a remaster this year? That's interesting.
And it's also kind of like what comes next, I mean, they just re-released all those Metal Gear Solid games. Does that mean that we're going to get Castlevania Symphony of the Night soon? Like, is Konami going to do that?
There's so much,
it seems more likely now than it did before, but we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. Is there weird copyright stuff with that?
Sony has some sort of timed exclusivity with it. And also, I think there might be, because the one thing that just pisses me off about the last couple releases of Symphony of the Night is that it's the Dracula X Chronicles re-recorded English dialogue, which people say, oh, it's a more accurate translation, it's better. It's like, everybody in that just sounds like they got a stick shoved up their ass. Like, it's just too serious. I friggin' hate Yuri Lowenthal as a Alucard. Like, he is the worst Alucard. Like, James Callis is better than him. And so is that guy in Lords of Shadow. I forget his name because I don't give a shit. But yeah, it's like, I think it might be a royalties thing, too. It could be because of that. I don't know if they're as screwed with that on the Japanese side of things, because if they did re-record that, they'd probably use the same voice cast. But they went like Los Angeles, like area, like voice actors, voice talent when they re-recorded it in 2007. But I don't know. Like the hole in that theory for me is that that's the year that the Xbox 360 version came out, and that uses the original English dialogue.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like I hope it gets freed from Sony. Same with Rondo of Blood. More people need to be able to play Rondo of Blood. And like, I honestly want to see the Silent Hill games get a re-release and new port. I just hope they do a better job of it, just to make Silent Hill 1 look a little less jank.
And I know that I kind of complained about how the Metal Gear Solid remaster is a little too faithful to the PS1, but if they do re-release the original Resident Evil games, I hope you can play it like that, like in its compressed jankiness.
Yeah, and like, because of the freaking pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah, because it helps with the pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah, you need some sort of filter that makes it look like a composite TV, or like an analog TV.
I know some games actually come with that. They come with a CRT filter that you can turn on. I think more games should do that because it's just fun.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, most of those games could just be remade from the ground up. Because, a game that we didn't really talk about in the media year in review, the Tartarus Key, that kind of uses like a Silent Hill graphical style, like PlayStation 1.
Yeah. And I think there's another one that's coming out soon that's very PlayStation 1 era. I forget what it was called, though.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guys who worked on that game, because I'm like, yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but it's supposed to be releasing in like a month or two.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's like we'll just have to see what this year,
Yeah.
I guess. There's nothing on my radar at the moment.
Like, I want to say that we'll get more and more great re-releases every year, because it just seems like that's how it's kind of been for the past few years.
Yeah.
But I also almost can't even imagine it being topped from what we got this year.
Yeah.
Because this year was just, it was just great. It was just great.
It's going to have to be a lot of stuff out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of re-releases, I mean, I do got a couple more, like, surprises, or I guess good things that happen for me. Renegade Games Studios and their handling of Axis and Allies so far. They didn't really have any new releases in the past year, but they did bring back a lot of stuff, they reinvigorated the current games, which weren't hard, like, they're not really hard to find, or they weren't up until that point, but at least they're still being remade. They're still in circulation. They did do a reprint of the 1914 World War I game, which is really good. Like, I still haven't gotten it to the table yet, but I want to. And just all the plans that they have for this year, like, they're going to have like 6 new releases. And I think like 2 of those we already talked about the Guadalcanal game and then the new North Africa game. They've already done they're doing a poll right now for like the next deluxe like board mat, which will be interesting to see what comes of that, because it's like all the games, it's like maybe 1914, or I should have just been a troll and picked like D-Day if that was an option. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad they've done well. They'll probably continue to do well this year. I think they'll probably do a re-release of Anniversary Edition, which will be really neat to see, because that game's also, like 1914, is a very expensive game to get on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything else in the good category?
Not really.
Okay.
Again, that's not to say that this was a bad year. It's just that was the biggest thing that stuck out with me. That's what I'm going to remember this year for, was great remasters.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I would have to say, and this I just found funny, is that an actual RPG won the Game Awards RPG of the Year this year.
Huh.
Baldur's Gate 3. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, that game where you can bang a bear or whatever, but I don't know. The thing about RPGs lately is that they've kind of become more like action games.
Yeah.
It's like, Starfield, Fallout, and Skyrim, and even Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're more, they lean towards, like, perks as far as, like, how you can, like,
yeah, it's an RPG
abilities.
in the sense of you can upgrade your weapons and characters in different ways, but when it comes to the actual story, the actual fun part of RPGs,
it's
fun
not
to shake
it's
up.
not just that. It's like actual RPG mechanics, like having attributes, and like, I guess in the case of Baldur's Gate 3, you do actual like die rolls, like you do different like checks for things depending on like dialogue paths. So it's really cool to see that actually come like in a game. But I don't know, like and it's also funny that oh man, like, I don't think what was it, that the latest Cyberpunk DLC, I don't even think that got nominated.
Good.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's not an RPG, so
Yeah.
but I mean, people would have, people fall for that all the time. And Starfield got shafted, rightfully so. But,
yeah, holy cow.
Yeah, there's so many dumb categories with the Game Awards. Like, like, go to that site and just look at it. It's like,
you can tell that like there's a lot of awards that are just made up, just because the game studio like gave them like, I don't know, like $50. Like, hey, you need to give our game more awards.
Yeah.
The one that has always stuck out for me, and this is when I was first learning about the corruptness of the gaming universe, and it was when I had a Game Informer that was the game of the year for 2012, and they had an award for best ancient alien civilization in a video game award. And guess who won? The Forerunners from Halo, because that's such a niche, like, It was just so dumb. I actually still have that copy of that Game Informer because it's just really fun to go through, and it's actually kind of nostalgic now just because it's so dated.
Didn't that come out like around the time of Halo 4? Or?
Yeah, so it came out like December of 2012, and the big games that year was Halo 4, and then Mass Effect 3. Probably one of the Borderlands games. I'm trying to remember what else came out.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The best bad Call of Duty game.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Everybody loves that game. I don't like it that much. I like Black Ops 1 better.
Same. The reason why people like it is because of zombies, because it had transit and you could do the 4-player zombies, which
is a neat idea. It's just much.
Yeah, it
on
doesn't work very well in execution. I remember.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, you never updated your game.
Yeah.
Which was the right choice, but
because it's funny.
Yeah, I just remember staying up midnight, the 4 of us playing. I say the 4 of us like the other 2 people are here, but we were doing 4-player split screen, and we were on the bus. And Tyler's like, they're T-posing at us, and all the zombies were T-posing.
Oh,
and like climbing on the bus and like breaking through in the T-pose because there was so much stuff going on screen.
We gotta play that sometime.
Yeah, we do.
Get it on screen, just like friggin' Silent Hill 2 Ubisoft edition. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, that was a bit of a...
Yeah, so...
Alright, well, that was all the good I had. It's time to get into the bad stuff. The stuff that was like, just made you say, I'm not happy with what happened.
Alright, I'm going to go on first, because mine kind of relates to what we were just talking about.
Okay, go right ahead.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2, which... I could be wrong here, but I'm like 99% sure isn't even an actual Call of Duty game. It's I don't even know if it's like a paid DLC. It might just be a free update to Modern Warfare 2 2.
You mean a $70 update?
And I feel bad because I really haven't like tipped my toes deep into the iceberg of all the problems with this game. But the one thing I will say is they brought back No Russian. There's a No Russian level. And I was like, whoa. Because, like, No Russian, I have a love-hate relationship with it. Because in one hand, in the original Modern Warfare 2, that was a pretty effed up thing to put in a video game where you don't even technically play as a terrorist. I think you play as a CIA agent pretending to be a terrorist. But you just go in and just mow down an airport. And it felt so realistic and stuff, even to this day. Like, the fact that they'd put something that edgy in a game at that time in history, like, Call of Duty used to have balls. And, like, I think Call of Duty became popular because it had balls. It was willing to do stuff like that. So in the new one, I was shocked to see there was a No Russian level. Well, in this version, which I think is the last level of the game, you're playing as the army bros who are coming to the airport to stop the terrorists who are shooting it up. And it's just like, why even do it at all? Like, hey kids, remember that time in 2009 when we had a terrorist level? Wouldn't it be cool if you were fighting the terrorist? And like, yes, but also no. Like, all caps no. Like, just shame on you. Like, I mean, I talk shit on Call of Duty a lot, but I do have a lot of respect for the Modern Warfare trilogy, like the original one. Because it really felt like they were pushing themselves more with that one than they did with a lot of the others, which was just them either coasting or trying to copy other games. But they've ruined it. Like, and now whenever you Google Modern Warfare, like, you're just gonna get the new games. You're not gonna get the old stuff, and it's just they literally just call it that because they're trying to bank off the nostalgia of our generation, and. You know, it's just upsetting. And then you've got Warzone, which I actually have played. I actually played a lot of Warzone this year, which is probably a sin, but they're like turning it into Fortnite. Like, they're putting in all of these like licensed characters, like
actual celebrities.
Yeah, like I think you can play as Eminem, and you can play as like Shredder from Ninja Turtles and stuff, and like
what the hell?
Yeah, like I get why they do that because that stuff's popular and it's fun, and it's not like the old Call of Duty games never did stuff like that. Like in Black Ops, you could get the Joker's face paint because the Dark Knight was popular at the time. And it was awesome. But like, there's a limit. And when you're already clearly ripping off of Fortnite with your Battle Royale, and you start throwing in like licensed characters like in Fortnite, it's just, it just seems wrong. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned like, oh, you can't like search for the old games now. It's just like the whole thing like we were talking about last time, and Django, and like just any other like I guess remake that becomes more popular, or is more timely than the current thing, more recent. Obviously, it would have to be more recent if it was a remake. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the actual like moment to moment gameplay of the game, I can't really criticize because I haven't really played it enough to judge. But the actual like legacy is what I'm upset about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't put remake in the titles. Like even Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's like back when they did the like remake, it's just called Resident Evil. The only way to differentiate it or like the games is by the year.
Yeah.
Or if you type in remake, most will like Resident Evil remake, most will know that. But it's more of a problem with like 2 and 3, remake 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's weird, it's awkward, but it's behind us. It's not like they're going to remake Modern Warfare 4 because that wasn't a thing. I'm trying to remember, was Ghost supposed to be a sequel to the Modern Warfare games? No, okay.
It was still made by Infinity Ward, but it was entirely different.
Yeah.
That was a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Oh man, what do I start with? Let's just do a simple video game one. So apparently there were new ports of Red Dead Redemption 1 that came out this past year, and they were shit. Yeah, they came out on PS4 and Switch.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I didn't know there was any new ports for the PC, but I guess that makes sense if it's for Switch.
Yeah. And the thing that just blows my mind, so one, apparently these ports are worse looking than the upscaled Xbox 360 version on Xbox One and like I guess Series X.
Yeah.
Like there are comparisons and you can see, because they didn't like really update any of the resources or whatever, like the assets. It's just it's just a port.
I'm gonna sound really pretentious here.
Yeah.
So if you're a Nintendo fan, don't crucify me. But how does the Switch's hardware compare to that of the 360? Because I know they're like about on par, but I still feel like the 360 might have been a little better.
I don't know.
That sounds really mean to say.
Because there have been more recent games that have gotten ports to Switch, like Doom and Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah.
But I assume those are also very, very, like, downgraded in certain ways and maybe probably don't run as smoothly. So, yeah, I really don't know how powerful the Switch is. I always forget. And that's the one reason that's, like, stopped me from, like, really wanting to buy one desperately. Because even though you can play a lot of, like, really good, like, indie games, and I guess Nintendo's first-party titles are decent. Not that I'm interested in many of them, but, like the killer apps, like, friggin', Tears of the Kingdom and that other one, Breath of the Wild, like, they just don't look like they run well. Yeah. It's like
I think they run better if you plug it into the dock. I could be wrong.
Right. But... They do. They don't run that as well in handheld mode, but like it's like when you see all these like these PC versions of them come out and they're running like 60 FPS. It's like that looks awesome. It's like I want to play that, but then like you, of course, those get shut down by Nintendo because they are very protective of their IPs, like too much so.
Yeah,
it's like. I don't know, like the Switch 2 that's rumored to be out or that got leaked or whatever, I hope it's actually got serious hardware in it. There was a time when Nintendo was serious about making hardware that was good and competitive, but I mean, they don't really need it for a lot of their stuff, but it'd be nice to have. So, because I don't think I'm buying an Xbox Series X or a PS5 anytime soon. But yeah. But the big, going back to the Red Dead Redemption ports, like the thing that kind of burns me a bit is that there wasn't a PC port. Still no PC port. It's like, I guess I don't think it'd be hard to do. Just like the upscaled Xbox version, just bring that to PC. It'd be decent enough. Like get it running 60 FPS. I forget how it runs on a Xbox One. It might run even better on Series X, but it definitely I think it can be upscaled to 4K.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's dude. What the hell, Rockstar?
Yeah, especially when Red Dead 2 is on PC. Like,
Yeah,
it just seems weird.
it's one of the life's great mysteries. We might get an updated port in like 20 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Once these games are a bazillion years old and such, and Rockstar's like, we'll do a re-release. Yeah. Did you have any more biggest disappointments?
I mean, I don't know if this counts as a disappointment or not. I think it does.
If it's the bad, then yes, it do.
Yeah. The DC's current slate of movies and their future slate of movies, they just seem wrong. I mean, obviously these new movies that came out were all supposed to be pretty bad.
And to be honest, Rob, I wasn't even aware they had a slate.
Yeah, so they hired James Gunn,
right?
Who is... I wanted to do a video on this so bad, but I don't think I'm ever going to, so I'll just talk about it right now. They hired James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movie as well as the Suicide Squad movie. And they're like, okay, you're the new guy in charge. And this is like the 100th time they've done this. And to be fair, DC did get bought by Discovery partway through, and when that happened, there was a huge shift in management and stuff. So they had the Zack Snyder plan stuff, and then they kicked Zack Snyder out, and they had their own plan, and then they got bought out by Warner Brothers, by Discovery, and then Discovery had their own plans, and those plans have also been thrown in the dumpster. So now they've hired James Gunn to do his plans, and they've released the slate of what he wants for his like first phase. And I like James Gunn. I don't think I love him, but the thing is that this is what's going to happen. This is my prediction. They're going to release a Superman movie in 2025. That's going to be the first one. And it's going to come out the same time as the next Avengers movie. And no one's going to go see it, and it's going to bomb, and then they're just going to fire him and make up new stuff again. Like, it's just like an endless cycle, and I just don't have faith. And that's not to say I don't think he'll make a good Superman movie. It's just to say I don't think anyone's going to go see it, because what they're doing is they're making these really expensive superhero movies, and nobody cares, you know? I mean, like, if people aren't showing up to the MCU movies, why are people going to show up to a Superman movie? It's like, well, Superman's a more popular character. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I mean, you had The Flash, which had Michael Keaton's Batman in it, and nobody saw it. And I know there was a few other reasons why nobody saw that movie. But if you can't bank on the Bat, what's going to make people want Superman? Like, and the other thing that's frustrating about it is that you already had a great Superman, and you never did anything with him. Like, you didn't do anything with Henry Cavill, someone who wanted to play as the character and could have done really great stuff. So it's frustrating because they've blundered so many times now that they're just like, oh, we're just going to cancel it all. And they're probably just going to continue to blunder. When in reality, this would be the perfect time for DC to, like, be the snake that bites Marvel's ankle. Because Marvel isn't doing great right now. Like, how cool would it be that all the Marvel movies started sucking and then the DC movies got good, besides the Batman? Like, but we don't get to live in that world, so that's disappointing.
As far as, like, it just seems to me that they're all sucking right now.
Yeah, I mean...
Or at least being, like, just barely mediocre.
Well, what it is that we're past the point of them thinking they have to make good movies to make money.
Oh,
and they're past the point of people being willing to go see a bad movie. Like, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it, but it's just like... I mean, I personally don't go to the movie theaters as much anymore, and there's been so many mediocre blockbusters recently that it's just people don't care, and I think people have been disappointed so much by, like, bad Marvel movie after Marvel movie and bad DC movie after DC movie. I mean, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, holy cow, that made me want to rip my head off. Like, just yeah. And that was a movie, I liked the first Shazam movie. So, I don't know, one thing I was talking to my brother about is that there's really not a super solid superhero trilogy. Just a trilogy. Like, I mean, you have the Dark Knight trilogy, where you have two really good ones, and then Dark Knight Rises isn't very good. You know, I mean, you have the Iron Man movies, which the first one's good, the other two, You have the Captain America trilogy, which that's probably the most solid one, but I'm still not in love with the first movie, and the third one doesn't really feel like a Captain America movie.
It's a friggin' Avengers movie.
Yeah, like you can't watch Winter Soldier and then go directly into Civil War. So like, I don't know. I wish superhero movies would bring enough to make them worth watching again, but they're not. And this new DC slate is going to be the exact same thing. So,
yeah. Yeah, I've got little or to no investment in anything Marvel or DC at the moment.
Well, especially when you can just pick up comic books so easily now, and you can get core versions of the character and like great stories and stuff. Like, we always make fun of how bad Marvel and DC comics are, like especially like their like recent sales and stuff. Yeah. But you can still go back and find the good issues and get enjoyment out of that. So.
Right. It just occasionally takes work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might have to like hunt down a specific like collected edition or whatnot.
Do a little bit of online research too to figure out which comics are you supposed to read and how you can get your hands on them and stuff. But
like, I mean, that's mostly what I've been doing for everything. So it's just a matter of, I mean, I've just been kind of not into comics as much, but I've been meaning to check out Daredevil, more Punisher, but and of course it's old stuff. It's not anything from the past like 5 years, most likely. Speaking of, I do have a couple more disappointment stuff. Like, I hope they'll be quick. I just gotta say it. The Punisher, Jason Aaron's latest run. What the hell happened with that?
Is that the one where he's a samurai?
Yeah, and the way it ended, like, I don't mean to be graphic or anything, and do not look up what this means on the internet, on Google. They gave his ass the pink sock.
I'm imagining a lot of things, all of which are foul.
It is very foul, but like, and people are saying, "Oh, Jason Aaron, he's a good writer. He did that Punisher Max series after Garth Ennis did." I read one, like, I guess, story arc from that, the Bullseye one. It was shit. That is the worst thing I've read in my life. It is a guy pretending like he's a guy that was imitating Garth Ennis and ended up writing bad Garth Ennis, which, to tell you the truth,
is a lot of Garth Ennis.
Is a lot of Garth Ennis. You know the midgets one with Wolverine, like like the ghost squid. I don't even have to leave Punisher for that. Like
just all of the boys, not the TV show. The TV show's fine, but just
the comic.
Just all of the comic.
Yeah, it's like, jeez, like the Marvel does not give a shit about the Punisher, and like I knew he was.
For some reason, the Punisher is like associated with cops for some reason, and I still haven't quite figured it out why. But I think it's really awkward.
Yeah, I know the reason for the military thing, because that goes back to I don't know if it's him specifically. It's the guy that American Sniper was based off of. He was a big fan of the Punisher. Like, he was the guy that kind of popularized like having the Punisher skull on like, you know, body armor and stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like it was already popular. I feel like it was popular when I was a kid. Like,
yeah, that's true. Like that might have been around the time that the movie came out. I forget when like his time in the SEALs was, but yeah, like the police thing is kind of weird since the Punisher's like kind of like, you know, he's he's there because law has failed.
Yeah.
And like, granted, he's not like he doesn't go after the cops to like kill them unless they're like, you know, they're corrupt or not. But even then, like, he doesn't usually try to like kill them. He tries to like get them arrested or something. And like, you see it in the movies too. The police are like in Punisher Warzone, it's like the FBI guy comes up. He's like, "Hey, why haven't you sent anyone?" Like, it's more or less like, it's like, why haven't you sent anyone after the Punisher? Why haven't you took him in yet? He's like, he's making the job easier for us.
I'll never forget in the movie Morbius, which was better than most of the superhero movies this year, when the detective goes, "Yeah, we don't know how all these pirates got killed, but hey, they were bad guys anyway, so honestly, I think it's a good thing. Because that's how detective agencies work. I don't know, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not following that enough, but
I don't
at
know
least that
either.
movie was funny bad.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'd, like, just what I know about it would make it, like, fully enjoyable bad, but funny bad can be good.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we're getting
And,
from
and
most
it's
stuff.
like, at the end of the day, Morbius is still a fun concept because he's a vampire and I like vampires.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. Like these modern superhero movies, I say modern, I mean, the ones from this year, like in Shazam Fury of the Gods, he was fighting these, like, old ladies. I think there was a dragon at one point. Like, it just wasn't fun. And, like, as terrible as Morbius was, I didn't leave the theater bitter.
Yeah. Okay. Let's kind of cap off. Let's cap off the bad. We'll just
Mm-hmm.
make this real quick. Another kind of like disappointment thing. Capcom going after modding. Obviously on the PC end of things.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because a lot of the mods that come out for Capcom stuff are kind of like,
Very sexual.
yeah, and like,
There's 2 degrees to the sexual Capcom mods. There's the regular ones, then there's the ones that are making fun of the people that do that. There was one where it was Resident Evil 3, and Jill Valentine, like, literally had, like, exercise balls for butt cheeks. And, like, she's getting smacked around by Nemesis. And she's just massive. Just the dumbest thing ever.
The one that I heard about was the Fat Ashley mod for Resident Evil Remake 4.
Yeah.
So like some of it is funny, but then there is like a lot of weird like sexual stuff, like nudity mods.
And it's weird how, because I mean, I follow the modding community for a lot of stuff, and obviously there's a lot of mod games that have that in their modding community, but I feel like
even Doom.
Yeah, even Doom, but I feel like it's usually the minority.
Yeah. Or it's like well, and it's always usually a joke too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know like how much it is this way, but like I don't know. Yeah, like I think it's also like an issue for Street Fighter 6 maybe, because a big thing with Street Fighter is Capcom wants to sell you all the DLC costumes, alternate costumes and stuff, and
if you can download costumes for free, well then you're losing money.
Yeah.
Capcom, just hire the people who are making mods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll look better anyway.
Yeah.
Probably. It's like Capcom can, like, man, they... Sometimes I feel like they don't know what they're doing as far as, like, modeling goes, because, like, some of their stuff can just look like crap. Like, I think it happened with the last Marvel vs. Capcom game. They had to redo it or something. But yeah. I don't know. The modding thing is kind of interesting to me because, like, the news that came out of last year when that whole ray tracing update came out for RE2, RE3, or Remake 2, Remake 3, and then that other one, RE7. Like, how a lot of people are saying, oh, it breaks the mods. And I was wondering if that might have been intentional or not, or just something that happened inadvertently because, like, I guess mods would be tied to the graphics API in some way, like their ability to function and not glitch out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing too, it's like I'm thinking that might be the reason why we're not going to get a PC port of GTA 6 at launch, because they're going to spend more time putting some DRM in to
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't know if you saw I think this is technically this year news, but it's still equally disappointing. But Valve has started going after modders, which was super rare because one, Valve was founded by Doom modders, and well, it wasn't founded, but a lot of the original
Doom and Quake,
map designers were all modders. That's how they hired them. They just found the best modders online and hired them. But like, the two that got taken down, which everybody's shocked by, because again, Valve has always been very supportive of modders, was Team Fortress 2 Source 2 and Portal 64. And I have no idea why they took down Portal 64, but I can almost understand the Source 2 Team Fortress 1, just because maybe they're planning on doing a big update overhaul to TF2 the way they did with Counter-Strike this year. But it's still, it just seems weird, and it's like, oh no, Valve, don't turn to the dark side. You've been on the neutral side for so long.
Yeah, and I know it's like a whole thing with like them either trying to protect their IP, which I don't think either of these mods would do anything like kind of like that would. Yeah.
What's the weirdest to me with mods that you don't really see this too much, but I remember like in the back in like 2005 and stuff when I was into Battlefront 2 mods for the Star Wars game, they were very, very uptight about this. But if typically when a game company releases mod tools, part of the agreement with those is that you don't use assets from other games. And you see that all the time in mods, that people will just steal models from other video games and import them into other games. Again, I guess that was worded poorly, but they steal models and textures and stuff from one game, port them into another game. That's technically illegal, and whatever company you modded that into, that company could technically get sued by the other company. And again, I don't think it ever happens, but it is still one of those things that I feel like if there was mods getting taken down for stuff like that, I can understand, but it doesn't seem like it is. So
yeah, and it's like they're not going to cut in on their like profits or anything either. It's
but it is kind of plagiarism.
Well, no, I'm going back to the whole like you know, the Portal 64 and such. Even though it, I guess maybe I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I like mods. I like modding. It gives games longevity. I mean, that's the reason why Doom is still talked about.
And it helps you understand game design so much better. Like,
yeah. And coding. Yeah. And I guess while we're on the topic of Resident Evil or Capcom, I guess, just kind of a mild disappointment. So kind of one of the things about the Resident Evil board games is when they get fulfilled, you get a little slip that'll like tease the next game that Steamforge is going to make. Or at least that's what happened with 3, and that's what happened with the remake board game. And apparently the next one that Steamforge is making is Resident Evil 4. Which, it's a bit of a disappointment to me, because there's still like a couple classic games that haven't made it to the table yet. And with Resident Evil 4, I don't see how they'd be able to make like a cooperative campaign out of that without like not following the story very closely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to redo like how the game mechanics work.
Yeah,
it's gonna have to be way more. Well, it's gonna have to reward combat a lot more. I don't like if it's faithful to the story. They're not gonna be a lot of playable characters. It's gonna have way more miniatures probably, so it'll probably be more expensive. So yeah, I guess I want to see a bit more before I make up my mind. But yeah. I guess it saves us from a Code Veronica or a Resident Evil 0 board game. Even though Resident Evil 0 would have been the one to go with, it would have been like the quick one. It's like, yeah, we got like half of the player models made already. It's all a Bravo team. Just need to make a bunch of plastic centipedes and undead monkeys and leech people, and we're good. Okay, now we go into actually. We're going into the weird, the wonk-ass events of the year. I guess they're kind of events. Some of them are just general topics, but do you want to lead us with this one, Rob?
Yeah, man, there was a lot of wonk-ass stuff that happened this year. The first one I'm going to talk about, and this is going to be a controversial one, so.
Oh boy.
But the movie Sound of Freedom. Now, despite your feelings on this movie, I mean, I have not seen the movie, but it made the internet a very interesting place. So, first of all, you have the origin story of this movie, which was it was being made by Disney, and then Disney shut it down. And I'm sitting there like, why did you run? Why did you run? Like, that seems sus.
And
then you had it come out, and all of these huge, like, news publishers are talking about how this movie will turn you into a conspiracy theorist, that it'll make you want to destroy the Capitol building and all this weirdo stuff. Like, it's just like a super like hardcore propaganda movie, which from what I understand, it isn't. I mean, that's even from like, I've seen very level-headed left people review the movie, and they said that like it's really not. It's about a true story about someone who tried to stop sex trafficking and stuff. So then you had this weird push from like a lot of the higher medias, and you're just like, that's weird. Why are they doing that? And then you had a reverse push from all of the right-wing stuff, and pretty soon Donald Trump is like buying tickets and buying theaters for people to go see it. And it's like, I mean, that's nice of him, but at the same time, I can't rub the feeling that he's only doing it because he knows a lot of people on the left hate it, and he's just trying to become more popular on the right. And now the movie, which is supposed to be about sex trafficking, is being used as a political thing. And then you have these records that come out that shows that the what's the name of the guy in the movie that it's about?
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot.
Jim Caviezel.
Yeah.
No, that's the actor.
Yeah, I know. The guy that Jim Caviezel plays. You have these records that come out that he's doing seances to talk to prophets from the Book of Mormon. And the one he's talking to is Nephi, which is not my first pick, because there's actual characters in the Book of Mormon who do deal with like who do deal with people that abducted children and stuff. So like, why aren't you doing the seance for him? And then you have the Epstein list that comes out, and it's got like 400 names, and Leonardo DiCaprio's on there. Who would have guessed? Like, what's going on? Like, now I am becoming red-pilled, but I'm also becoming left-pilled, and I don't know what's happening. And why did this happen to this movie? And now it's the biggest movie of the year? What the heck? How did that happen? How did the movie that had a QR code at the end of it for free tickets make more money than all of these other movies? What's going on? Yeah, so I wish the best for everyone who was involved with it. That was a good person.
Especially Jim Caviezel, because it's nice to see him return to filming a movie where he had no danger of dying on set, like Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I don't really have any negative feelings which way or the other. I mean, obviously I have negative feelings against the people who are, you know, child sex slavers and stuff, but, you know, like, it's just weird that this movie spiraled into what it became.
Yeah.
And, what's his name? Wisecrack Jared said something that made me very upset, where he said that we may be entering a time period where, you know, fun superhero movies and Star Wars movies that are supposed to be made for everyone aren't successful and aren't what people want to watch, but what people want to watch are politically divisive movies like Sound of Freedom and Barbie. And that from now on, then all the blockbusters are going to be just really pushy or stabby political movies, which I don't want to see that. I don't like that. I don't like I don't really like movies that have political stigmas to them, you know? Like, that's not to say that movies can't have political messaging and creators can't create stuff of their own opinions and accord, but I don't like the idea of movies being specifically made to piss off one side of the political spectrum. And like, that's just a big can of worms and a future I don't want to live in, okay? Like, all the political stuff we have is bad enough. Like, just keep that out of keep it out of my movies, okay? So yeah, that was my biggest WTF or wonk ass event that happened this year. Like, just one that I just can't stop thinking about.
Yeah.
And for like the wrong reasons.
Oh crap, yeah, we're in wonk ass events. I was looking at the what the F. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not there yet. We're getting there. Oh jeez. So I guess the only thing that, as far as like an event goes, and this came very, very late in the end of the year, it's the whole completionist charity scandal, because it just came out of left field. Like, I had not thought about Gerard the completionist. It's been a couple years, because I think he was involved with the relaunch of G4, which went absolutely shit. But like, as a YouTuber, like I watched a couple of his videos back in the day. He did a decent job. It's not like a character reviewer, but like it was different. But yeah, just hearing this whole charity scandal thing and like knowing that a lot of YouTubers, not just ones involved with gaming, do charity, it's gonna make people think twice from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if you had anything additional to say
No,
about
no.
that.
It is sad. It is sad to see
And
stuff like
especially,
that.
yeah, especially since it's like kind of clear that he kind of effed up, or it's
Mm-hmm.
he's making it seem
And I
that
know
way.
that he's done a lot of charity streams and stuff in the past too, so it makes you wonder, like, if you donated to those, where did your money actually go and stuff? And the problem is when people do charity scams is that, like you said, it ruins people's motivation to donate to stuff. I mean, remember there was something that came out that made a bunch of people like start boycotting the Salvation Army, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if the Salvation Army did anything wrong or not, but the fact that people are boycotting charity organizations, like, it just makes you upset, because charity is a good thing.
Yeah. Just when it's not forced.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for the right reasons, but like, yeah. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. I don't see it ending well for him, but we'll just have to see. It's still like only a month out away from that happening. I don't know if there's any more to be revealed or what, but yeah, that's just rough stuff. Another like not really like event, but like topic that I kind of want to bring up, unless you had anything else, Rob.
No, go ahead.
Is just the explosion with AI art.
Oh,
Another
boy.
thing that's become very divisive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You got like, I don't know, like it's not just art, but it's also like, image generators, text stuff, video stuff. Most of it is cursed. But yeah, and I know a lot of people are really like for it. They're like, oh yeah, so this is a good thing. My kind of view of it as someone who like is like learning art and stuff like that, who knows that there's a lot of stuff to know about it and a lot of stuff to like really work on to be considered a good artist. Like I kind of see it as something that might be used as a crutch for people who, and this would just be for people who want to learn art. I don't know about like the average Joe if they would just dabble with it and like abandon it later on, but like I would hope that people who are like honestly trying to learn art are like still trying to increase their skills, because I could see AI art, if it gets like a little bit more complex or whatever, like better, like kind of being used as a like to cover like gaps in skills. Like let's say you're not as good at coloring or as good at inking, or inking your pencil lines or stuff like that. And like it's not going to make you a better artist. It's just like I said, it's just like a band-aid over a something that's should be worked on. Like, I don't know. Thought I had something a little bit more prepared for this, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. So I hope it's not being used for the wrong reasons. Let's put it that way. And I don't know.
It's one of those things where it's like a Pandora's box. Like, it got released. It's here now.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going away. And like we were kind of talking about this earlier, it's probably mostly going to be used for like corporate type art, like what you see in like online articles or in like magazines, if you still read those.
YouTube thumbnails, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say that's nice, and this isn't so much about the art, but just AI writing stuff, is that I found it was, maybe I shouldn't say this. I heard it was really good for writing technical papers and lab reports. If you've done like any like large scale engineering projects or anything like that, where you have to write it in a very specific robotic way.
Syntax.
Yeah, like, oh, what do you know? There's a robot who can do all of that in 5 minutes, like, obviously you still have to conduct the experiments, and I don't think anyone should ever submit something, especially have something published that's written by an AI that wasn't thoroughly checked over. But like I said, when it's something very corporate like that, it works, because if you've ever read one of those big like legal documents for a machining process or something like that, they're not really meant to be read out loud by humans, and like it's just not how they're made, So I think there are times where it can be used as a good thing. I think there's times where it shouldn't be used. So
yeah,
just know your place, Kubrick.
Yeah, Kubrick. Yeah, but no, the one thing I do want to die, like, yesterday, yeah, the image generation, the video generation stuff, because that shit is cursed. Like, the example I have, I was watching this stream, and, like, it was, like, kind of like a panel type thing, and one of the guys is really big into, like, AI stuff, like, not just the art or the image stuff. He's a little too much into it. He's going to be the first to go.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he wanted to... create this image of another another member of the panel. Like he wanted to put his head like on a hot dog. It's like he was, kind of like Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
Except maybe even more cringe. So yeah. And apparently he was using Bing, so keep that in mind.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. So he showed like 5 or 6 examples. At least 3 or 4 of them, and I shit you not, looked like they had foreskins on them. One of them had like a nipple on the end. The end that was like not the guy's head.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, that is disgusting. It's like, okay, let's just keep along. Make a long story short. From now on, I'm only going to be buying the kosher hot dogs, not only because they are, well, they're probably better for you or slightly better for you, but they'll be circumcised.
Yeah. Oh, this is the best podcast we've ever done.
Yeah, and the Bing thing is what gets me. Because
of
your comment, like, man, this is back in high school. It's like,
yeah, this has been an inside joke for us for a while, but the idea is that, I forget if it's the first page or the second page, if you Bing search for any image, you will get porn as, like, the third result. Like, Google does a really good job of keeping the perverted Rule 34 stuff out of its search engine, but Bing, and especially Bing back in the day, just didn't do it.
Wasn't your joke about it? It's like, well, Bing knows what people want.
Yeah.
Like, it'll just give you porn.
Mm-hmm.
I barely use Bing.
Imagine being a little 12-year-old kid and driving past a pornography store and being like, they don't even know about Bing images. They're wasting their money.
Every time I go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about these other things. They're kind of funny. I don't know. Just one thing. I guess this is more of a shout out, and like this is a painful thing to watch because it is 5 hours long. It's the Side Scrollers interview of Darkside Phil, known as DSP. Bit of an internet lolcow like Boogie2988, but maybe for different reasons. Yeah, I don't know how to describe him. And like, yeah, he's a gaming streamer. He somehow manages to make money off of it. But yeah, he's like one of the original lolcows, and like he's got a lot of people that like hate on him, probably for legitimate reasons. One, I don't think his content is all that good for one of them, so that's just like low hanging fruit. But he's also got like possible like legal and financial trouble that he might get in because the way he like handles his like finances, like his business side stuff. So anyway, like yeah, Side Scrollers, it's a podcast. Started out as just gaming, but then they found out that there's not a lot of gaming news, so they turned to entertainment and stuff like that, stuff related to YouTube and all the different platforms. But the guy who runs it is a what's his name? Stuttering Craig, formerly of Screw Attack, who you might have heard of before. And he, like, just out of the blue for his first interview, he says, oh yeah, we're going to be interviewing Darkside Phil. And, like, people in the chat are like, what? Like, yeah, he's like a big old, like, meme king from back in the days. And people are like, don't you mean a low cow?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And, like, people, like, he's been interviewed before, and, like, he's been softballed a lot, so people didn't think they were going to ask, like, the hard questions, but no, they did. They pummeled his nuggets. And, like, at the beginning, like, Phil's like, hey, I'm gonna, like, this is going to be the interview that the haters go to, where everything gets, like, to set the record straight. And, my gosh, I think it made it worse.
Yeah.
Keemstar was on there at one point, like, just got brought in, because there was something that he and Phil and Boogie and Wings of Redemption were gonna do at some point. It was like a lolcow podcast. Like Phil was gonna get paid like a couple $1,000, and he backed out of it because of morals or something like that. It's like, oh, geez, it was a wild ride. It was a long ass interview. I don't recommend watching all of it, but they did clip it up in case you are curious. My gosh. And they also interviewed Uwe Boll, which is kind of cool. I have not watched that yet.
How is Uwe Boll? Is he a scumbag in real life, or did he just make movies that make me hate him? Like,
I don't know. Apparently he's a big proponent of like physical media, so I think that's kind of cool, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think there's like some like conspiracy about his movies being a tax write-off.
Yeah, I think I've heard about that.
But I don't know.
I've always gotten really bad vibes from him, but also I haven't heard anything about him in years, so maybe he chilled out, but also I don't know.
He's a German.
Mm-hmm.
They chill out for a little bit.
And then other stuff happens.
No.
Mm.
Dang it. All right. So yeah, we might as well just go into the what the F.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a quick one real quick. So apparently the recent Netflix live action adaptation of One Piece was good, I guess?
I actually watched the first episode. I watched it because I saw a lot of hype for it online, and I was like, guys, it's Netflix. And it's One Piece. How are they going to make that good? But the one episode I did see was actually really good. I was like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. Like, it did have a lot of weird stuff in it because it is One Piece, but
yeah,
for what it was, like, a lot of the jokes worked really well and stuff, and it was fun, so I was surprised by that.
That could be the what the F that I was going to talk about, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I haven't looked into this, but this kind of helps with it because my confusion makes this funnier probably. But anyway, apparently there's going to be a new version of the One Piece anime.
Yeah.
And the things I've heard two things about it. One is that it's supposed to be a more streamlined version of the anime to cut out all the filler bullshit, which they should honestly, well, they kind of did with Dragon Ball Z, but yeah. And then the other that I heard is that it's going to be based on the live action edition. Like the storyline, like how that was like the storylines that followed, what that cut out or kept.
I've often been very critical of adapting animated pieces of works to live action, but I think that One Piece works as an exception because the original One Piece stuff is so obviously One Piece is not an easy thing to get into, especially right now. I mean, it hasn't been for a long time because there's so many episodes, but it's not something
so
you can really
manga.
Yeah, it's not really something you can jump into easily. And to convert it to a live action show that does make it easier for viewers, I think is a pretty cool idea. But the thing is with this anime, I'd be more okay with it if they had started it once the current running anime finished, because I know that it is coming close to an end. That's what I've heard from the 5 One Piece friends that I've talked to this year. So I've heard that it is coming to an end, and it would make sense that after that one finished, then you could do a quote-unquote abridged version of it. But the thing was, I saw like a quote, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who created One Piece. I want to say it's Nobu something, but I could be thinking of someone else. But he talked about it, and he was kind of, a little upset by the idea of it. And that's, I don't know, that makes me sad whenever I see a creator who's currently working on a project, and then some other rich guy's like, actually, we're going to do that same project too at the same time. And it's just, yeah. Seems sad. As someone who has very little interest in One Piece, that seems suspicious.
Yeah, it does kind of suck. I mean, yeah, it's like, especially if he's still going on it after, like, however the hell long he's been doing this, like, over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's got to be shitty. It's like, get out of town. Yeah. But I guess, like, I don't know, like, how much ownership the, like, creators have, like, in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Like, it seems like no one has, like, and, like, with big companies and, like, big products in, like, the United States and, like, the Western world, it seems like nobody has ownership.
What it feels like is Netflix made the live-action show, and it was popular. And whenever something gets popular on Netflix, they have to milk it. And they're like, oh, what if we did an anime adaptation of One Piece? Because I think they did that with The Witcher. I think there's a Witcher anime they have.
So is it Netflix that's
doing the new one? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why people are thinking that it's going to be based on the live action storyline. It's just funny. It's like, yeah.
Poor Netflix.
They
deserve their hate.
They deserve everything that gets thrown at them and more. Like, good Lord. Like, we're going to be talking about them a bit more later.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be good. But anyway, what about you? Do you have anything that's kind of what the F?
Let me think. I guess not. I don't want to keep this too long.
All right, well.
I'm sure I'll think of something later, but that's okay.
All right, I got a quick one. I want to dub 2023 the year of ass voice acting. Especially on the side of things that were like, I don't know, originally like Japanese games and they got dubbed, in English. Because holy shit. Now, probably the low-hanging fruit there is Ada Wong in Remake 4. But I also want to throw some attention on the guy they got to voice Albert Wesker. Because holy shit. Yeah, it's another problem. Like with the Dracula X Chronicles English dub. He sounds like a guy that's got a stick shoved up his ass. It's like everybody, it seems like the archetype for a English voice actor for like a Japanese game, kind of like the generic tough guy main character villain. It's like a knockoff Solid Snake with a stick shoved up his ass. It's like I don't want to give David Hayter shit because he was the originator of it, but like he ruined voice acting. Yeah, and you don't just see it with like Remake 4 and Wesker. You see it in Armored Core, the recent game that came out. Which another what the F. What are they called? From Software. They make a game that isn't a Souls game.
Yeah,
that's cool. But like everybody there, it's just like, oh, what the hell? I'm glad the main character doesn't speak because I'd hate to know what that sounds like. Man. Then when the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer dropped.
Yeah, that one has some weird voice acting too.
Like I listened to that and people are like, I saw like comments like people were so excited for it. It's like, were any of these lines like second takes? Like that was the one they went with? Like,
as someone who has little investment in the Legend of Zelda franchise, I feel like Zelda shouldn't talk.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm talking about Princess Zelda. Yeah, I'm not talking about Link.
Yeah, Link shouldn't freaking talk.
Yeah, I mean, Link doesn't talk though, at least.
Yeah, the thing I guess they've been doing with her is like this British accent. And
yeah,
it just sounds bad.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if it's because it's not a British voice actress or just because it sounds funky.
It just seems wrong.
Yeah. But it wasn't her. It was also Ganon. Again, he sounds like a guy with a stick shoved up his ass.
Mm-hmm.
It just was like off-putting. It's like, but I'm not going to be playing it anytime soon, so I guess shouldn't worry. Oh, but a game that I might be playing, and I hate to shit on a game that didn't have as big of a budget as these other games, but RoboCop Rogue City. One of the unfortunate parts of that game, they weren't really able to get many of the voice actors back that played, characters from the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, because those movies came out like close to 40 years ago, like the latest one, or 30 years ago. Some of the actors have passed away. But like some of the people that they got to like voice like the kind of like the NPCs, like the not from the movie, this is just like kind of funky. Like it's not that bad, but it's just like, ugh. It's like these don't sound like people; these sound like cartoon characters. But I guess that might help with the satire.
Yeah. Have you seen any of the stuff from Rebel Moon?
No.
Yeah. Is that? Are we going to be talking about Rebel Moon later?
No, because I haven't watched it.
I got like 5 minutes into it and I had to turn it off. But
okay.
You can see clips. It literally sounds like the dialogue from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. It's like, you remember Joseph? He was the one that saved our life during the Battle of Neverine. You remember that? Just like the most like poorly written exposition Given so terribly.
Yeah, you know how I feel about regular, but some, like, I guess, competently written exposition. What do you think I feel about shitty exposition?
Makes me so happy that movie's bad.
Like, it reminds me of Resident Evil Survivor.
Yeah.
My friend, Leon S. Kennedy. I'm saying his full name, even though this is internal monologue.
Jill, I see you.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Maybe 2024 will give 2023 a run for its money. Oh no! I guess another aspect is Chris Pratt voicing everything.
Oh
I just think it's funny.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
He's
too.
voicing Mario. He's gonna voice Garfield.
Yeah.
I don't know what's next for him. Yeah, he just does his generic Chris Pratt voice, which, I mean, to be honest, if he did that in a Mario movie, if he like tried to do the accent, it would have gotten old fast. But like,
yeah, well, I think he did in the Mario movie was good. But if you notice, the like first trailer that came out for that movie used different takes than that are in the final movie. So all of the bad stuff we said about that movie before it came out about his acting is still technically true. Because someone was making that commercial and was like, "Oh yeah, this will be a good line." You know, shame on them for bad marketing. Shame on them for poorly marketing that movie that made $2 billion.
Yeah. It's like, maybe they'll spend more on money on marketing next time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I hate to be that guy because I'm going to sound like a real Xbox gamer, but the funny thing about watching the Mario movie, it's like, oh, this is what Mario would look like on modern hardware.
On hardware that could actually run.
Yeah. This is the PC port of Mario 64.
Hey, what the hell are you talking about? You're not an Xbox guy. You're a PC now.
No, I'm not. But the stereotype
You've been assimilated.
is that Xbox fans always say stupid stuff about Mario.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just thought that was 6th and 7th grade.
That's because we were all Xbox fans back then.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know any better.
Yeah, I think we do now.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a WTF for the year.
Okay.
The cancellation of Lego Indiana Jones. And this is like a half truth. So they came out with 3 Lego Indiana Jones sets. Indiana Jones is actually one of my favorite Lego themes.
It was good.
It was good. It was good. I think it may have outstayed its welcome. Like the original run, it was kind of a bit weird there on the last few sets they made. But I mean, if you look back at the forefather to Lego Indiana Jones, you had the Lego Adventures line with Johnny Thunder.
Yeah.
Which is highly regarded in the Lego community as the best theme.
They have not brought it back.
Nope, they have not.
They have issues.
Yep. But they were bringing Indiana Jones back this year. They released 3 sets. And to be fair, one of them was actually really cool. They made like the German fighter plane. And for the first time in over 10 years.
Yeah, the bomber thing.
Yeah.
Bomber-looking wing thing.
We got a Lego Nazi, which is just so funny to me. But they had a bunch of other sets that were planned that they canceled because Indiana Jones 5 is the worst movie ever made. And like, they have one that leaked that you can see photos of it, and it was like of the Temple of Doom, and it was like the big statue of the god, and it had like a rail cart that you could go down, and it looked like a really cool set. And you know, it's just upsetting that they couldn't have done more with that theme because
they would have had Lego brown people, and that would have upset people.
No. They've got all the skin colors now for Lego, but they just did it because they knew nobody was going to buy it because they knew they were going to see that movie and never want to look at Indiana Jones again. I
want to buy that. But I didn't watch the movie because I was smart.
Yeah, you were smart.
that would have been awesome. Friggin'
and they had a bunch of planned stuff for the current movie. There's no images of what those sets would have been, but we know that they would have made those until they realized the movie was going to be bad and nobody would want toys of that. But
yeah, that is very interesting that they all were like classic, based on the classic movies. So was there like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
No, so they did one that was like the opening to Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it was the
again.
Yeah, but this one's more like a display set. It's kind of more of like a adult 18+ set, and then they did one of the tomb that they go into with all the snakes in last.
Again.
Yeah, they remade that set, and this one was actually pretty cool because it came with like a mummy, which looked really cool.
Yeah.
And then they did the fighter plane from Last Crusade, which I did end up buying. And I gotta say, it's a pretty cool little set.
The fighter plane from Last Crusade, like the
one
off the blimp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about. I thought you said they made the bombing wing thing.
Oh no! Sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
No, that one they made originally back in the day.
Yeah,
right?
well, that was another cool one. I never got it. None of my friends did either. But
no, I wanted to get that one. I just didn't.
You got the Douglas though. That's still top 10 Lego sets.
That is an awesome plane. Yeah. I went to the Lego store to get that.
It's funny because Lego has like a rule about like no war, but Lego Indiana Jones was like the closest we ever came because they were like there's military vehicles in those movies, so they were able to sort of make them. They never made the tank from the Last Crusade, which is too bad because that would have been a perfect set.
Yeah, the weird Franken tank.
Yeah,
that would have been cool. Yeah, friggin' Denmark, no war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for the help in both world wars, buddy.
Yeah.
If you would pulled your weight, maybe the U.S. wouldn't have to get off our asses and help.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute, we got bombed that one time.
Wasn't there a bomb that went off in like Nebraska from the Japanese?
No, that was in like Oregon. That was from the Japanese, like one of their balloon bombs that actually made it to the U.S. Yeah. At least it wasn't full of like friggin' Unit 731 shit.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You know the Japanese actually did take over part of the U.S.?
What part?
Alaska. They took over part of Alaska.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just like one of the islands?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. Dang. They're flying too close to the sun. Like they're close to the Soviets at that point, or, well, I don't know. My goodness. Yeah. Gotta be... Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that is lame. No war. What the hell?
Yeah, come on, guys.
No guns anymore, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Except in Star Wars.
Yep.
All right. I guess my last what the F for the year, and this would have been part of the Indiana Jones podcast that we did, or whatever that was going to be back in July, but it's all the shit that happened with Skullgirls around that time. So this was like midsummer. So for those that you don't know, so Skullgirls is an indie fighting game. It's kind of like it's got an all-girl cast. Sort of, yeah, that's right. Like mostly all-girl cast. And it's really supposed to be like a parody of fighting games. Like it makes fun of a lot of the tropes, not meant to be taken seriously. And there was this whole big deal where this summer where a lot of the art assets, both the sprites and like stills from the game, got censored more or less. And there was a backlash to it. And, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big fan of censorship, even if it's, like, allegedly for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a game that's meant to be, like, a parody.
You can have a censored version of something for a general audience and still keep accessibility to the original just for historical purposes, I guess. It's weird saying historical purpose when you're talking about Skullgirls, which is a fighting game with...
That's only been out for like 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. Yeah. But at the same time, though, like, it's just...
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like what 343 did this year, where they just released all of their Halo assets that were never made it to the games, like, all the way back to, like, the RTS days.
Huh.
So, like, any promotional picture of a asset from Halo that you saw that didn't make it to the final game, it's now open to the public. Like, you can access it. So, I mean, I just wish more people would take an approach like that. You can still update your games, but always keep access to original stuff.
Yeah. And, like...
And it's kind of a stupid reason what they censored, too. Like...
Yeah, a big one, obviously, one of the characters is kind of, like, based on, she's got an armband that looks like a Nazi armband. A lot of the characters do, like, side characters, but it's like an umbrella instead of a swastika. Yeah. And they're all wearing these German uniforms.
Like, the game takes place, like, in the 30s and stuff. Like,
and 20s. Like, it's kind of, like, supposed to be pulpy, kind of. Yeah. Like that. Pulpy. Like, some of the art style is a compromise between, like, anime and, like, the rubber hose animation.
And it's not like, I mean, I don't know a lot about the lore because I don't think there is some, but it's not like those characters were, like, perceived as like good guys. It's not like they're the heroes.
They kind of, I don't know. Like, I never played the story mode for that character, but like the idea was that it's supposed to like make you think of like a very like oh, what's the word, like
totalitarian force
regime. Yeah. And I don't
they
know.
look like people you would not want to walk by in an alley.
Yeah. And just the funniest thing to me is, so they get the armbands, but all the like soldiers and whatnot, they still have like German looking uniforms and stuff. It's like, okay, you're just kind of covering up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like the main like the character, like in her main like palette whatever, doesn't really have the armband. It's just like an alternate one. So it's weird.
It's really weird for them to do it this late, you know? I mean, like,
there's a bunch of like dickery involved with that. Like, the two of the three original creators aren't with the team anymore. And
that's too bad.
They're with a new publisher or something, and it kind of gets into the whole like, I don't know, like,
are you respecting the original creator's vision?
No, I don't know. Like, that definitely, like, I don't think, like, even though they have one of the three, the lead animator, a lady, I forget who her name is, who did a lot of the original, like, animation and art for this shit, the stuff that got removed. Mm-hmm. It's like, you don't have the two guys, like, and there was a big falling out with those two guys, and a lot of it is, I think, a bit nonsense, and it seems like this might just be to get revenge on them.
No, that's no fun.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be playing the game anytime soon. Like, I would like to see them kind of come back on it. I don't think they will. It's just kind of a shame because they had all this goodwill like a year or so ago when they had that new like DLC season pass come out.
The second encore.
Yeah, well, no, it was after that even.
Oh, okay.
It was just like when they've had like a couple of new DLC characters come out, like from, oh man, this was like several years after second encore, and we thought it was going to be finalized, but yeah, it's like, and they even had a new one come out this year. The final boss is now a playable character, but it's like,
which was like a meme like 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's just like I don't care. It's like and the funniest thing too, and it's like I say I have some sort of curse where it feels like whenever I like something or want to get into something, there's always something that comes along that ruins it. You know, like when I got into Berserk and then I found out that the guy who was writing it died and left it unfinished. Or friggin' what's his name having a heart attack after I listened to one of his songs and I thought it was good. DMX. Or
if Connor gets into Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin will die that day.
That's the only thing that's keeping him alive.
That's the only thing that's keeping him alive.
Oh, jeez.
That freaking guy. I mean, it was a meme 10 years ago. Stop writing prequels.
Yeah. Stop writing Elric knockoffs. That's friggin' The Witcher's job.
Yeah.
That's what I keep hearing. It's like there's all these things that come out that are like rip us of like Elric of Melniboné and like very like kind of sometimes surface level and then like other like kind of obvious ways.
Yeah.
More deep ways. Yeah. I guess it's its own genre now. But yeah, like I'm not as motivated now, obviously. I haven't gotten back into it. I haven't even updated it. It's been put in timeout jail on Steam because I don't think I can start it without initiating the update.
Yeah.
Like, even if I went offline, I don't know. Well, I haven't tried it offline because I just
if you do it
don't
offline,
care.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, that is really a shame. And they went back and edited like concept art and art from fans and like other artists. It's like, don't do that. And a lot of the stuff, I don't know. One big thing too, they edited out a lot of panty shots, and it's like, okay, it's a parody.
Yeah, like that one does make sense. But what's funny was like their way of editing it was like a lot of them just make them black.
Oh,
which,
yeah,
like makes them like stick out even more, which is funny.
Because one of the characters that got edited, and I don't know why she was the last one to like have all of like this like is like because there have been like edits like that made in like previous years, but like the character that was like got the most brunt of it is like 16 in game, which I don't think should really matter because it's a freaking cartoon and also parody.
Yeah,
and not explicit nudity or whatnot. I don't know. I'm not going to try to defend weird stuff like that. It's just one of those, like, people are coming off like, oh, it's not a big deal that they made all these edits, and it's like, it seems like they put a lot of effort into like doing it, and so it kind of does seem like if it's not a big deal, then why'd you even do it? I don't know. Like,
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the game is still playable and it's still fun, but I don't know. It's like the Star Wars special editions. Like, in the back of your mind, you just know there's something off.
Yeah. Not that I'm a...
That's the other thing I hate. They released Into the Spider-Verse before it was finished. And I'm not talking about like the fact that it doesn't have a conclusion. I'm talking about like there was like literally like special effects scenes and stuff that were added to the DVD release. It's like, no.
That's weird.
First video games started being released unfinished. Now movies. I mean, to be fair, that movie is visually very impressive. Like, I was kind of like, why is this movie taking so long to make? And then I saw it and I'm like, dang, they must have been crunching.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right. Are we finished with our WTFs?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are.
All right.
So I don't want to defend any more panty shots and friggin' the video games.
Yep.
This is a weird day. Not that I would normally. Like, why would you even put it in there to begin with? That's the funniest freaking thing, because that's going back to the whole, like, oh, the one creator that's still a part of it. She animated all that shit back in the day initially. Now she removed it. It's like, okay. And, like, yeah, I don't know. She's a weird lady. Like, yeah. Might be a bit of a snake, too. She's the one that remains. The other two are gone.
Yeah.
You watch your ass, people that are still on the team. You'll be next. So yeah, we're going to go into the biggest insult.
Yeah.
Rob, you start.
This is bad. We started out so high, and now we're just, like, descending.
Well, that's the point. I thought. I don't know. We did have good stuff, but there's also a lot of shit stuff, and we have to get into the stuff that was just the worst.
What was the worst for me? Can we just do this one together for combine yours with mine? Because I think I know what your biggest insult is.
Well, you can read it, and then if you read it and say...
Yeah.
Is that really yours?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Castlevania friggin' Nocturne. You lead, Rob, because...
What? Yeah. It's just... I feel bad talking about this, because I haven't really given the show an honest try. But, like, I kind of don't want to. Me and Connor were talking about this a few weeks ago. Because, I mean, when we reviewed Season 4, we both had nice things to say about it. We thought it was very flawed. But overall, we thought it was fun. At least, it was fun compared to Season 3. And it just... It was a stupid ending. That's what I'm just going to say. Season 4 had a stupid ending. And when you end a series like that, one, it's hard to get back into it for this Nocturne series. So, like, unless this one brings something special that will redeem the flaws of the past few seasons, but it didn't really look like it did. I mean, first of all, I'm cool with characters getting redesigned to an extent, and, like, it's not that drastic of a redesign, but, like, we all know what Richter Belmont is supposed to look like.
Right.
And, like, he looks like 15 years younger in this.
That is true. And the one thing I had said, and, like, I don't mean to cut you off, Rob.
No, go ahead.
He is very clearly based on the Yami Kojima redesign for Dracula X Chronicles. That's what it is. He's not like the Rondo of Blood, I ripped my damned friggin' tunic overcoat, sleeves.
Super Smash Bros. Version of him.
My Ryu-looking headband, ass-wearing, pants-wearing guy. Even though he's 18 years old, he looks like he's 38.
Yeah.
Or, no, 28. But, yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like they went with the more dainty-looking Richter Belmont.
And it's just like... I mean, in my opinion, a Castlevania show should be about some vampire hunters of probably the Belmont clan going to a big castle to kill Dracula.
And shit that gets in their way.
Yeah. And we got 2 seasons of that. And then it's just been like weird fan fiction ever since.
It's not even fan fiction. These people don't play the games.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It's like they're cashing in a paycheck.
Yeah.
And it burns even worse when the current writer, whatever the hell his name is, it's like Clive Bradley or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to not make sure I'm not confusing his name with the guy who plays Pinhead. That might be Doug Bradley. But yeah, I think it's Clive Bradley. It does not make it better when Clive Bradley is a way less experienced writer than frickin' Warren Ellis was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Warren Ellis, say what you want about him, at least he, like, had written, like, in the realm of, like,
Yeah.
comic books, stuff like that, could at least foray into that. This guy, what the hell is he written for, other than, like, I don't know, friggin' TV shows, like sitcoms and friggin' socialist newspapers or whatever. Like, what?
I'm not saying you can't have political commentary and stuff, and I'm not saying you can't even have it in Castlevania, but it's like, it still needs to be Castlevania. That's the thing. Like,
no, I'm gonna go further and say, leave that shit out of it.
Yeah.
Leave shit that has nothing to do with the series out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know Castlevania has, like, it does, like, some of the games are, like, adjacent to, like, real-world events, like Lament of Innocence, The Crusades, Bloodlines, World War I, and Portrait of Ruin, World War II, but they don't have anything to really do with those events as much. Maybe Bloodlines a little bit more. Actually, yeah, a little bit more, but it's, like, kind of almost in a tongue-in-cheek way.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, like, it just completely pulls away the original setting of the game to bring it to the French Revolution, and I guess also the Haitian slave revolt, which I know very little about, and I doubt was, like, I don't know. Like, I doubt I would learn anything, like, accurate from this about it. But, yeah, that's what burns me. It's like, that was the thing going in. It's like, what the hell does Castlevania Rondo of Blood have to do with the French Revolution? Well, actually, 2 things, now that you ask, Rob, even though you're not asking. Jack and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think, like, just what I've heard, the little I've heard about it, is that the lessons of, like, where the previous series went wrong, like, what it didn't do quite as well, this one is still making those same mistakes. Too many damn characters, too much frickin' exposition, not having a, like, real lead. Like, the lead gets overshadowed by
a bunch
supporting...
of made-up characters.
What?
A bunch of made-up characters.
Well, not even made up in this case, just ones that were more supporting type characters. I mean, Maria Renard, she was, like, a playable character in Rondo of Blood, so you do have a little bit more freeway to that, but she wasn't a frickin', like, a 12-year-old, like, revolutionary or whatnot. She was I guess she tried to be a vampire hunter or something.
Yeah.
It was really weird. But, yeah, like, the rest are just, like, complete reimaginings of what they were, like, in the game. Like, the biggest, like, the lowest hanging fruit, friggin' Annette. Whereas I like to call her Manette, so I don't call her Black Annie.
Hey,
not to be confused with that remake of Annie from, like, when was that, like 2012?
Yeah, 2012 or something.
with Jamie Foxx in it.
Yeah.
I never watched it, but then again, I never watched the original Annie. But anyway, so yeah, her. It's like completely original character. Like, I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, oh, that's a different character. I wonder who that's going to be. It turns out it was Annette. Like, oh, Richter's girlfriend or love interest. And the thing you hear from people, the people that are really bad about coming up with original, like, well, responses to legitimate criticism, you know, people will say, hey, she should have been an original character. And other people are like, oh, she was just a damsel in distress in the original game. They made her into an actual character in this one. It's like, you stupid-ass son of a bitch. If they put time into it, if you had a legitimately talented writer, and which they didn't have, so obviously this wouldn't have worked, it could work. Like, you could do something with that. Have you ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl?
It's one of the best movies ever made.
And it's surprisingly they only made one Pirates of the Caribbean. Isn't
for
that
some
crazy?
reason.
Yeah, but yeah, like just look at Elizabeth Swann in there. She's technically a damsel in distress, but it's not like it's the end of everything. Like she's actually like a character. She has like a presence in that movie. It's not she's not just there to be rescued. And they did go a little bit overboard in the sequels that allegedly exist, but like you know, it could be done and they could do something a little bit more with that. But this, like just making her like a knockoff Sypha because they didn't have a Sypha to work with in this one, it's like, they actually had two Syphas. They did the other, like another character that Richter can rescue in the game, Tara. They made into Maria's mom, who is also apparently a sorceress in this one. It's like,
seems
okay,
legit.
so it's like, okay, they got two sorceresses now, like, or like I guess one of them's supposed to be a speaker, quote unquote, or whatever. Yeah. What the hell? Like, and then like Richter's, I guess, a bit of a bitch boy in this too. I don't know.
It's just one of those things where it's like, this was something that we asked for. Like we talked about this.
Did I ask for this?
Well, we didn't ask for this, but we asked for the Castlevania series to continue as an anthology series featuring different Belmonts and different time frames.
Right.
And, that's what they brought us, but I didn't really spend the time to go watch it, and like, again, I feel bad for being this upset at something I didn't watch, but sometimes the fact that I didn't have the motivation to watch it is a good enough reason to be upset at it,
What that you've seen in like the previews and shit like that and the stuff that you've read about it tells you that it's worth your time. Like, you gotta honestly ask yourself that sometimes, and if you're not getting a good
violence,
answer.
Like that's the only thing I could.
Yeah, the action. It looks like there's action, but that could have just been the trailers. Like I don't know. It's like you got to ask yourself sometimes. It's like, does this seem like it's worth my time? Does the little I know about it, the people who defend it and seem like they're being kind of disingenuous about it, like, are they like, is this even worth checking out? And I don't think so. I would rather not spend my time on something that I know I am not going to enjoy. Because this is, like, I hate to say that, like, walk back on, like, previous praise of the series, but in the end, like, I don't think that was what I would have wanted out of an adaptation of Dracula's Curse and, Curse of Darkness. Like, knowing, well, how it ended up.
Yeah.
And, like, it was a moving forward thing for us. Like, it's just now I have expectations going in, and especially since one of the games that's going to be covered in this new series is my favorite game of all time. Not just my favorite Castlevania game, but my most favorite game. It's like, how like, yeah, of course. It's not even like something they can compete with. Or like, I don't know. Like, and this just seems like such a low footing. And like, it's getting a second season already, but that might partially be because this season was so short. Like, it's only like 5 episodes.
Oh, really? It's a mini one again?
Okay. Yeah, which is weird because... Yeah,
that is weird.
I don't know.
I don't know if you guys know this. This is how Netflix works, okay? When you present them a series or a show, you will send them the amount of money you want to make it, and then they will make a deal with you, except for you only get half the amount of money you ask for. So the idea is that you basically have to create a little pilot TV show with a limited budget, and then if you do good enough, they'll let you make the second season with the budget that you asked for originally. And usually Netflix is evil, and they won't let people have that. That's why there's so many shows that are like, quote unquote, successful on Netflix that just get randomly canceled. It's because Netflix is ran by a bunch of bad people. Granted, a bunch of bad people who give a lot of people opportunities to make stuff, but still probably not the best people.
Yeah. The way I had heard it is that they normally like order multiple seasons of like at least animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this one automatically got renewed, more or less.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But for me, what's weird about that is this isn't really a new show. Like, yeah, technically you have to push a different picture on Netflix to get it to load, but it's still Castlevania. Like,
Netflix Castlevania.
Yeah. Imagine if, like, George Lucas went to investors like, hey guys, I'm gonna make Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. It's gonna be a prequel trilogy, and they're like, sorry, George Lucas, but I mean, like, this is a new concept. This is a new thing. like we know Star Wars was successful. That doesn't mean anyone's gonna. Like, we've just never seen this before. That's not how it works. Are you guys stupid? Like, come on. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's just...
Next time we do this, we're gonna do the good last.
Okay, yeah, because, like, yeah, it just makes me sad.
This
like,
has just been a descent. Like, I thought this was a pretty good year. I mean, there was definitely some really rough stuff that happened to me personally, but there was a lot of good stuff that happened too. And now I'm just like, oh man,
yeah.
what happened?
And, like, I checked out a lot of cool stuff, but it was all stuff from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and, like, not all of it was good, but it was at least, like, somewhat enjoyable.
Yeah.
And, like, this just makes me, like, not, like, hopeful for the future in a lot of ways for the things I care about. Because, like, I don't care about a lot of properties, and Castlevania is, like, one of the few. And it's just like, God damn it, Netflix, because this is going to drive, like, discussion on the series. Because, you know, let's face it, a lot of the people that watch Netflix Castlevania
I've not played the games.
Haven't played the games, aren't fans of them, probably didn't even know the games existed.
Mm-hmm. These games are gonna shape public perception.
These shows, yeah.
And that being said, I mean, fingers crossed, you know, Konami's in Japan, maybe they have a different take on the show, you know.
They make a game based on it, it's actually good.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I feel like there's a decently good chance that, I mean, if there was an American company that was going to make a Castlevania game, they'd be saying, hey guys, look at this anime, it's really successful, make it like that. But I feel like in Japan, they're like, oh hey, it's that fake anime. It's that fake American version of Castlevania, you know, like...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, really, because I guess the series is still around, and freaking Contra is getting a reboot or a new entry that doesn't look like shit.
Yeah, holy
so
cow.
Hopefully something Castlevania will be coming out that isn't related to any of that bullshit. Because, I mean, honestly, they should have just ported Grimoire of Souls to, like, a legitimate platform. It would have been just like Harmony of Despair. It would have been cool. And then people would have actually played it. Not just a bunch of random Canadians. But, yeah, it's like, I'm not overly optimistic, but...
Do you think the Silent Hill 2 remake will be good? Honestly, you're not allowed to have an opinion on this. Not enough has been seen or revealed.
The fact that not a lot has been seen or revealed in over a year. Like, I thought it was coming out this past year. I'm not overly optimistic. Let's just put it that way. Like, we haven't seen any gameplay demos or anything like that. We've seen, like, the weird, like, cutscene stuff that looks off. And I honestly, like, I hate to shit on Bloober Team when they have made good games in the past, but, like, I don't have faith in them to, like, do a good job.
Yeah.
It's like, unless they make the combat, like, I don't know how faithful they're going to try to be to, like, the way the combat worked. If they can do something that's different, but interesting and still feels, like, somewhat faithful, you know, like, I don't know. If they give it the Remake 2 treatment, let's put it that way, but, you know, they're going to have to do melee and stuff like that, and they pull it off, like, I would give them props for that. The story-related stuff, if they change anything like that, because Silent Hill 2, people put it on a pedestal for a reason. Leave that shit alone. If they change it, gloves off. Like, I'm that's gonna be a good point of criticism. Like, it's a remake, it's not a reimagining. But if it is faithful, it will be good to see, you know, like, a version of Silent Hill 2 that more people can play, especially since it's coming to consoles. Yeah. So yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm not overly optimistic in adaptations or remakes or stuff like that. I'd rather just see remasters, and we got a lot of the good ones this past year. I'd like to see more. Like, not just from, you know, the obvious, like, Night Dive and stuff like that, but, you know, Konami, get Silent Hill out there, free freaking Symphony of the Night from Sony. You know, IO Interactive re-release do new ports of the Hitman games so people can actually play them, not have to do a bunch of nonsense in Notepad. I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, let's end on a bit more of a high note. I do have plans for the year. I mean, obviously, we're gonna finish the Hunted stream. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
you can be there for that. Kind of want to bring back the Scramble casts. We can do those like maybe once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not counting this month, but maybe some more movie reviews, game reviews, and since I've figured out how StreamYard works, or not StreamYard, Streamlabs can do a bit more stream related stuff or even just capture stuff because it works way better than OBS. It's much less of a bastard so far, knock on wood. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's all of that. What are things that are upcoming that you're excited for, though, if anything? Like books, comics, movies, TV shows, games, anything.
I mean, Uzumaki, if it comes out this year,
Yeah.
that's really the only thing. Like, I can't think of any movies off the top of my head. And like I said in the last, the last part of this stream, I was looking forward to the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes, but since James McCaffrey passed away, the voice actor for Max Payne, I don't know, like, how well that will be handled with someone else unless they just reuse the dialogue or they re-recorded it all before his passing. But yeah, most of the stuff I want to check out is like older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if something comes up that that kind of surprises me, like I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll talk about it. It's like Godzilla -1 that came out of left field.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know they announced it last year. I don't even know if they announced the name though. I think they just said, "Oh yeah, we're making a new Godzilla movie comes out in a year."
Yeah.
We're like, "Huh? Okay." And then then it did come out and it was really good. I liked it a lot. Here we go. This is the thing I'm anticipated for, and I have to share this because this was the same thing I said last year. But Star Wars Legends Omnibus New Republic Volume 2.
Okay.
It was supposed to come out this year. It got delayed. So now it's going to come out in 2024. It includes the Dark Empire trilogy, which was one of the first big Legends comic events that they did. That's the one where when the Emperor comes back as a clone. Not really objectively good in the sense of like writing and stuff, but it's good in a legacy way. That it was a very important comic when it came out, and it was very big and popular. But it's the one where the Emperor comes back as a clone, much like he does in Rise of Skywalker. But unlike in Rise of Skywalker, he comes back like 15 more times. And then Luke turns to the dark side. He joins the Emperor.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not here to praise what they did with the current Star Wars movies, but they never did that. So, they didn't completely murder Luke's character. And then it comes with the graphic novel adaptation of the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn, which is regarded as the best Star Wars Legend book series. So the comics have only been re-released, I think, like twice. So they're like super hard to get your hands on. I mean, I'm fairly confident they're going to be a worse way to experience those books. But just for the fact that they've always existed and I've always been curious on how they were, I'm excited for it. So that'll be cool. That'll be a big deal. That'll definitely be one that is going to be on the aftermarket for a lot. Because if you look at those current releases, like from past ones, like for some reason, the Heir to the Empire trilogy comics, those ones are so expensive. And again, like I said, in the back of my mind, I've always viewed those as the worst way to experience those stories, and yet they still go for like $300, $400, $500. So like, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna check them out. I'm curious how they're gonna be. They came out with the Empire Volume 2 this year. I did not pick it up. I was gonna pick it up, and then they had another collection for like $30, and it usually went for like $100 because one of the ones they released was called Rise of the Empire, which is like all of the stuff leading up to the Phantom Menace, and somebody was selling the collector's edition version of it for like $30 when it usually goes for like $100. So I was like, I think I'm going to pick this one up instead. Shout out to the guy who sold it to me. He was an absolute angel. Best service ever.
Yeah.
I think I definitely got a better deal, though.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to read that. Well, what's interesting is it comes with the U.S. and the European version of the Phantom Menace comic book. So in the U.S., they just had like a direct adaptation of the Phantom Menace. But in Europe, they had it, but it was told through the perspective of different characters. Like each issue was like, one's about Obi-Wan's perspective of it, and one's about Qui-Gon's, and one's about Padme's, one's about Anakin. So like it added a bunch of extra stuff to the story, which I'm curious. It's so funny because I'm like, oh, the Phantom Menace, what a terrible movie. I can't wait to read both versions of the comic book. But hey, I don't need to make excuses for what I like.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did think of one more thing that I might be excited for if it comes out this year. And this is, speaking of shit that you mentioned last year, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last year. The Rome Total War board game. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. It's still not out yet. I thought it was supposed to be delivered like... Did I say it's like Q1 of last year? Maybe it's supposed to be Q1 of this year. Who knows? I haven't been keeping up with it, but holy shit. I feel bad for the guy that like kind of started it out because he has just been having the worst of luck with his health. Like he had some really bad bouts with COVID. I think he got electrocuted
Oh my gosh.
at one point. So I don't know if he's still running the project. I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, it's like I've been waiting for that game for like... It's going to be 2 years now this February. But, like, I don't know. Like, I've had... Like, I think the Wolfenstein board game, like, took a long time to fulfill for me. That was And I got it when it was, in, like, the Pledge Manager. But this, it's like, I can kind of wait. I got a lot of stuff to work with. Backlog. Speaking of crap that I could probably do videos on. But, yeah. Like, that if it comes out and, like, just to see what... Axis and Ally stuff come out from Renegade. Like I don't know. Maybe that'll be good. Yeah. Alrighty, so we should probably end this. Yep. It's way shorter than the last one, but not by much.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe by half. My goodness.
Yeah. Hey, we had a good time. Except for the parts where we got really angry.
Yep. If you agree with the changes that were made to any of the stuff that we complained about, write your comments below and we will.
Yeah, like let us know. Like what stuff did you like this year? What stuff did you not like? I'm always curious to hear that. You know.
Yeah. If you have any differing opinions, let us know. I don't know, but yeah, like, and emphasize what you're looking forward to. Like, let's just put it that way. Maybe we should have said that in our last one, but yeah, like, what are you looking forward to? Whether it's something that's new that's coming out. Something that you didn't get a chance to check out last year, just let us know. Or like anything that we talked about that you thought was cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything you'd like to see us do videos on. Yep. Maybe. I don't know. We're not really in need of ideas, just in need of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that was a long ass year. And this was a long ass stream, and this is me not knowing how to end a thing. So, Rob, it's on to you.
All right. 2023, bye-bye. 2024, bring it on.
Yep.
That was a scared laugh, by the way.